My name is Syverine Bentz. I grew up just upriver from here, and I work at the Kachemak National Estuary Research Reserve, which is a national program, and we're lucky enough to have one right here on the southern Kenai Peninsula. And today I'm not going to talk about all the research and monitoring that we do, but I'll give you a little bit of an overview of all the different projects and programs we have in the Anchor River watershed, and show you how much fun we have doing it and how much great information we produce, and invite you all to come out with us this summer when we're out doing research and monitoring. So most of our studies in the Anchor River watershed area center around juvenile salmon and the productivity of salmon in their early life stages, because one thing that we hear a lot about open ocean conditions and then the pressures on adult fish and when they're in that life stage, if we can understand what makes their early life stages when they're babies and outgoing, out-migrating, we'll give them a really good chance once they hit that salt water. So I'm just going to walk you through a couple different parts of the Anchor River watershed, from the headwaters up by Hidden Hills, North Fork up there, the main stem of the river channels in the riparian areas, those flood areas, the estuaries down right here near the mouth, and then the nearshore, right offshore from the mouth of the river. Some of the projects that we've got in the headwaters really focus on nutrients, so where those baby salmon are getting all the good grub. It really centers, this illustration shows the important landscape elements that support juvenile salmon. They get nitrogen from alders that fix nitrogen from the air and put it into their roots. That's transported by groundwater, flows through peat wetlands where they get their carbon sources, and those really provide a lot of nutrients to the riparian area vegetation, so that stream bank vegetation, which grows all the bugs that feed the fish. So we're really, after the last 15 years, we're starting to really understand how these landscapes are supporting these baby fish. We've got several projects going on this summer in the main stem of the river and the floodplains surrounding them. A couple of these pictures are some of the field work. On the right, we're measuring currents, so that flow rate. I think Steve asked a question about how do you know what the flood stage is. So we did this over an entire season, trying to get that peak flow in the spring and create some flow rating curves so that we'll have at least a seasonal understanding of what's going on with the river. We also have some overwintering studies. So we go in here underneath the snow, underneath the ice, and this picture shows us pulling out some juvenile salmon that are alive and well and feeding and actually growing in the winter, right down here in our estuary, which is pretty cool. Once we get down here to the estuaries below the bridge, you can see a map here. So here's the boat launch, the end of the road, and the halibut campground. All these side channels, we've tracked and measured movement from fish. So the blue arrows and the yellow arrows are two different fish, and you can see they use the estuary in an interesting way. We used to kind of think that the fish were raised up high and they just kind of migrated out to sea. But with some of our movement studies, we're seeing that they use it a lot longer and a lot more diverse ways than we previously thought. And we also found there's a wide variety of our community fish assemblage in some of these side channels in the estuary here. And look how happy that field crew is out there sitting in the marsh in their sunhats. And then finally, a new project that we just started this last year is a nearshore fish project. So you can see a big beach seine with 6 or 7 people trying to pull on it and coordinate it to really figure out what some of the fish communities are like. So as those baby salmon migrate out to sea, what kind of other fish and competition or prey might they be encountering on their way out. We're going to be doing this again this coming summer, so if you see some weird people out there in a tiny dinghy pulling a really heavy net, that's us. That's what we're doing. And then the Research Reserve, we also really want to know why the science is important to you. So what kind of services or what kind of benefits do you all get from living in a watershed or living near wetlands? Some of these services are identified on this page, but the Reserve is always has open doors as far as trying to understand what issues are important to you and how the information and science can help support your understanding and appreciation of the Anchor River, where you all live. And so I got contact information here, and I've got some cards and other types of pamphlets on the back table. But not only do we do research and monitoring, but we do a lot of education and training. So This spring we've had 3 or 4 programs at Chapman, mostly focused on K through 3, but and we'll have some more this fall. We're trying to do a lot more site-based learning opportunities, so getting kids outside and learning about their environment. My job is mostly training, so trying to get information into the professionals' hands to help manage visitor use or decide what they're going to do for business practices. But we also have long-term monitoring and data, just basic information as well. So with that, short and sweet, just want to invite you out to go catch some baby salmon with us, or you know, see some drones flying and get some cool videos or something like that. So, yes.
Where does your funding come from?
My funding. My father subsidized it. I work for the University of I work for the University of Alaska. So my job, I'm a university employee. But our base funding comes like our operations grant is from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So NOAA gives us our baseline funding just for daily operations. Almost all of our research, especially in the Anchor River watershed, comes from competitive research grants. So we're constantly searching for new funds. If we hear about community priorities, it's always, like Devaney said, a much easier sell and a much easier way to get money into the community and get these questions answered if we know it's important to people.
Can I ask you a quick question about the predation of the little salmon? I know you studied that a lot. How much studying have you done on the gans you got here?
We, to my knowledge, I don't think we've got any merganser
I've lived here
studies.
45 years on this river, literally grew up wading in it, and property have found right against the river my whole life, right? Yeah. And the amount of time during the season that the river is broken up, as you stated earlier, is that there's more time that the river's open. And then even in the middle of the winter time, now it opens up a bunch. Right. And in the middle of the winter, you see 20, 30 merganser ducks underneath this bridge right here, and those things eat their weight in fish a day, approximately, and or whatever it is, half the weight or whatever it is, depending on how old they are. The younger ones really eat a lot closer to their weight in a day, or whatever it is, half the weight. I've done a little bit of research on it, but anyway, those there's a lot more of them. There's just, when I was a kid, you'd see a few here and there, but now you see just hordes of those ducks on this river, and I see it all up and down the entire state. And I mean, if there's one thing that's common that I've noticed, other than the warming of temperatures, and this is part of it, the warming temperatures the warmer the fish, but the ducks have a lot more time on that water to sit there and chew up all your salmon. It's something that needs to be looked into. I mean, as an observation.
Yeah.
I agree with Matt. I've been here 45 years too, but I know a guy nicknamed Merganser that spends a lot more time on open water. He does chew up some fish. Now, what's the price of shotgun shell?
It's interesting also, and double verified, when I took the, I guess it was Fish and Game Stream Bank Restoration Workshop last year, they said when they used to put in culverts, they didn't plant trees along the sides of them. The mergansers would sit at the culvert and just eat the fish when they came through. So they started putting more trees to try and block them out. So that is definitely an interesting advancement.